James Coe, man, how was your first week in fantasy?
Oh, brutal.
Really?
Just absolutely look, I'm in one big money league, and it's the only league of emotion that I have. It's the only league that I actually care about. It's like $1,000 buy-in. I've been playing this league for I don't know, damn near 20 years. I've been playing this league.
Have you won the league?
Oh, I've won the league, many times.
Sound like
and listen, when that payout comes in, you're like, yeah, this is pretty nice, boy. But no, man, I got 3 guys go on injured reserve on that roster. It's a 14-man league, so the depth on the waiver wire is like nothing. I had Ryan Fitzpatrick as my starting quarterback. He played, all of a drive.
Yeah.
I had Jerry Jeudy. And as we know, he was on his way to having a great game and a great season, man. He looked awesome. But now he's on IR with a high ankle. And actually, we're happy about that, right? Because it could have been a freaking broken ankle by the looks of it. And then Raheem Mostert was one of my starting running backs, too. And I'm like, opening weekend, first half, I got 3 dudes go on reserve, man. And I was on full tilt mode the rest of the day.
You just reminded me, dude. I have Raheem Mostert on one of my teams, and I'm afraid that I haven't replaced him yet.
Okay, well, while you look that up,
yeah, sure.
Let's talk San Francisco, because Elijah Mitchell, very popular waiver wire pickup. He is now a member of the houses, by the way. Is it possible that any given week it is going to be Jeff Wilson or Trey Sermon or now Trenton Cannon, or do you think Elijah's the guy? Second part of the question, is Brandon Ayuk still a member of the San Francisco 49ers?
He's in the doghouse, dude, it sounds like.
Is he alive? Golly. A lot of people brought up the Brandon Ayuk thing and brought up Dante Pettis too, and I just think it's a different situation. If you're listening to what Shanahan is saying, the Ayuk thing is more related to his hamstring injury than it is performance, so hopefully he can get up to speed. You know what's funny, man? You want my tinfoil hat conspiracy theory on this whole thing?
Yes.
I think Kyle Shanahan knew that Detroit was so bad and that he knew Jared Goff like the back of his hand, and he could just beat the brakes off of Jared Goff in this Detroit deal. I think he went into that game and said, forget it. I'm going to go in here with my backups. I'm so cocky. I am so confident. I'm going in with my backups, and I'm just going to beat the brakes off of Detroit with my backups. And I'm going to give the league something to think about. I'm going to give my starters something to think about in terms of, you got to work harder to earn a spot. Trey Sermon being deactivated 90 minutes before kickoff was the most bizarre thing in the whole world. Where is this coming from? And in my conspiracy theory mind, that's what I kind of sort of got to, was that Kyle Shanahan wanted to send a message to his team.
I think he's a little bit sadistic. I do, in a really harmless way. Outside of football, I don't think he's sadistic, but within the arena of football, I think he's a real motherfucker.
So does that mean you're not riding Elijah Mitchell from here on out?
No, I am. First of all, it's because Mostert got injured and is out for the season. Elijah Mitchell ran a 4.38 40, guys. This dude can fly, man. Now, not the biggest dude in the whole world, but again, I don't know if it matters in an outside zone scheme. You know what I mean? So speed is the most important thing, and I think Trey Sermon and Elijah Mitchell will split those carries pretty evenly, to be honest with you. I think this could be about a 50-50 split. I like both of those guys in that backfield.
So, guys, this just in, I found out which league I actually had Mostert. He was set to start for me this week. I'm sure he was very unhappy about that because he's limping around and shit like that. But he was set to start. It's a deep league. It's like a 12 or 13 team league.
13.
Or whatever it is. I'm looking at the running back situation out here in the streets. There's not a lot of running backs in the streets. Now, is there somebody I should pick up? The top names I'm looking at are D. Williams, K. Gainwell, T. Jones Jr., T. Johnson, C. Patterson. I might pick up Cordaro Patterson. That's the one that got away for me in another league.
Do you have an M. Ingram in there?
I don't think there's an M.
Ingram had about
go
55
pick
carries.
up. Hey, listen, man. You've got a Saints Gleason jersey behind you. Just go and pick up Tony Jones Jr., man.
Okay, Tony Jones Jr. Okay, there we go. Added Tony Jones Jr. See you later, Raheem Mostert. I'm wishing you the best. Sorry about it, but confirming that. All right. Well, that leads me to my next question, which seems like you just answered. Cordaro Patterson is a total no-fly zone for you, because I got so excited last week. I had him on my roster, and then Sunday he started to get the ball a lot out of the backfield.
Yeah, it's not a no-fly zone for me, but I don't trust the volume, for Cordaro. It's like, I get it. Like, he's trying to convert to this like weird / hybrid role. And quite frankly, like, he might have the most juice in that Atlanta backfield, but I don't know, man. Like, the team overall looks not great. Touchdown upside looks pretty bad. And again, I just wonder about the overall volume for Patterson on that team.
Juwan Johnson, who people probably were all simultaneously had the same idea about last Sunday as he caught 2 balls in the end zone for the Saints.
On 3 targets.
What do we make of Juwan Johnson's prospects for the rest of the season in fantasy?
Man, you know what's so crazy? Juwan Johnson, like that crazy 14-team 1K buy, like he's my starting tight end, Juwan Johnson. I actually like Juwan Johnson. I went back to watch some of his stuff, and I was like, man, this guy can make some plays, boy. And we already saw this blueprint, a precedent being set in New Orleans, right? Yeah. With Marquez Colston, like a guy who is like a wide receiver, tight end hybrid kind of player. And so I was intrigued. Like, he got 3 targets, 2 touchdowns, but tell me he did not look like the vastly superior athlete to Adam Troutman in that tight end room. So
guy's
I just wonder
Troutman.
if...
There's nobody named Troutman that's like, he might be a really good football player, and I respect him, like, but you can't be like a pure athlete named Troutman. You just can't.
That's a good point. But yeah, man, I thought Juwan looked like the much better athlete, and I just wonder if Sean Payton's going to find more ways to get him more involved, Didn't play a ton of snaps, but I mean, no Michael Todd. Like, they need playmakers.
Yeah.
They need playmakers, and I wonder if Juwan can be that guy for them.
Juwan might be that guy. Let me ask you about another tight end who disappointed me on Monday night. Mark Andrews didn't get involved much for Baltimore.
But got you the win.
Well, there's a lot of leagues. I can't keep track of them all. I had Darren Waller, who got me the win in one league. He helped me vanquish Aqib Talib week 1 in Aqib's own league. Mark Andrews or Dallas Goddard this week on one of my teams?
Yeah, I think it's a very close call. The one thing is that Mark Andrews is in Baltimore. They're playing KC. It's got an anticipated total of 55 points. So you just figure there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored in that game, unless you like the under by a lot. I don't know. But, the boys in the desert, they see it as 55, right? So there's going to be a ton of points scored in that game. In fantasy, it kind of sort of makes sense to capture some of that pie when you can. And I kind of think that, I think Sammy Watkins, by the way, is a great sleeper in that game. But I think you want to capture a piece of that pie, and that's why I would say Mark Andrews in that game.
I'm not somebody who's very interested in the Packers, kind of a no-fly zone for me in general, but I do love watching Aaron Rodgers play, and I know fantasy managers are excited about him this year. Is there reason for them to be panicking like they seem to be doing? I mean, like, the sky is falling if you have Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback right now.
I mean, golly, he looked just abysmal there in week 1. Well, and actually, to be fair, I think he looked fine in the first half. Had a couple of bad breaks, but I thought overall, like, he looked okay in the first half. In the second half, it just fell apart. The team gave up. I don't know what happened, but my read on that situation there is, and I've said this many times, but I'm not a big Matt LaFleur guy. Like, I don't think what he's doing schematically, his play calling, I don't think it's like anything special. I don't think it's anything good. I just think that it's Aaron Rodgers, a transcendent talent, lifting the entire offense, putting it on his back.
Right.
And when he can't do that, I think what you see is basically Green Bay reaping what they sowed, which is they didn't sow very much, to be honest with you. Like, they're not investing in offensive players.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the ones they do invest in, like A.J. Dillon and Jordan Love, they're redundant pieces, right? So I don't know, man. Like, I think it's kind of a bare cupboard offensively, and Aaron Rodgers is masking a lot of those problems.
But they have Randall
I do think
Cobb.
they've got the Randall Cobb and Amari Rodgers too, another unathletic slot guy. But no, listen. I think this is a team that was due for some regression, anyways.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing. I'm not saying like it's going to be this bad, obviously, but I think we will see regression from a team that I thought was way better than expected last year. And I think they come back to the pack this year.
Well,
fully intended.
On topic, am I an absolute lunatic to ask you if I should start A.J. Dillon or Derrick Henry in Seattle. Because A.J. Dillon's playing the Lions, and they're going to be in 4-minute mode the whole game, and it's going to be quite the opposite up in Seattle. And until I see Derrick get loose, I haven't seen him get loose. I mean, I know it's a stupid question, but allow me to ask it.
No, you're still going to play Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Anticipated volume too much, and again, I just think in terms of like the point totals and everything, like it should be fine. It's not going to be, like I said, it's not going to be 2020 Derrick Henry, like I said, before, but I think in this matchup he should be just A-okay.
We'll call this rank 1, 2, 3. 3 running backs for you.
That's a good There's a fucking segment.
Najee Harris, Chris Carson, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh wow, these are tough.
Well, it's a really good podcast.
I like Najee Harris 1 for sure. Najee Harris against Las Vegas is like guaranteed slam dunk, gonna respond. I think he has 100+ yards and a touchdown. I'll take Chris Carson against Tennessee. I think Tennessee's defense is nothing to write home about. A little bit better up front than they are in the secondary, but still, I think Chris Carson will get it done. And then finally, Jonathan Taylor, I think he's a great player, but taking on the Rams,
tough week.
Tough week. And the Colts offensive line did not look right in week 1.
3 receivers for you: Deebo Samuel, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson.
I think it's always going to be Deontay Johnson for me. Anytime you ask me one of these, close ones, he just gets too much volume, and he's a great ass player, man. And in this week particular, takes on again the Las Vegas Raiders, who defensively a little bit left to be desired. So, and who are the other two?
Godwin and Samuel.
Chris Godwin and then Samuel. Godwin's too good of a player. That offense is too good. And then Samuel, it's kind of like, I just don't know, man. Like, I have just a gut feeling that I think there's going to be like an overreaction to Ayuk. I think Ayuk's going to see like 10+ targets, and I think Deebo will kind of sort of, get his normal, 6 to 7 targets.
Must come down. Damn it. I had Deebo on my bench last week.
Hey, James, just not to... we've buried the lead. Chris is 1-0, the Cucks. The Houses are 0-1. I was part of that. Judy, Mostert, Odell.
Oh, no.
Odell, thank you for the Wednesday, so I could move you to IR. Gus Bus. Yeah. My bench now includes Mark Ingram, James White, Devin Singletary, Latavius Murray, and then we're thinking about Hollywood Brown or Elijah Mitchell at flex. All that to say, we're going to be patient and wait to see which one of those running backs emerges.
Waiting in the wings, so to speak.
Just to try to finish 7.
Waiting in the wings of the Houses. Hey, James Coe.
That is a gross looking running back room you got right
well,
there.
That's just the bench.
Well, I just damn near started Boston Scott for Mostert. I didn't really have a choice, which goes to show you.
We got Zeke and Eckler starting, so we're going to be all right.
That's cool. One thing before we find out where we can see James Coe this fall and remind people of that. You're being in fantasy leagues, James, it just hit me. That's like if I go play pickup football games, like everybody wants to try me. I don't think it's probably fun for you to be in fantasy leagues because there's so much at stake. Like people are like, oh, you're the fantasy guy?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's like if you don't win, people clown you. But you know what? That's part of fantasy, though. It's the trash talk, so it's all good. And, in a lot of these leagues, too, it's like, hey, listen, in a snake format draft, like all the rosters are leveled out, It really just comes down to kind of roster management and playing the matchups and those kind of things. And, that's kind of where I make my hay anyway, so it's fine. Like, I feel confident in saying I think I finished in like the top 4 of damn near every league I play in. But yeah, if you don't win, they're like, yeah, you suck, dude. You suck. We beat you.
Yeah, well, just so you know, I'm a drafter. I'm not as much of a manager, and I haven't actually ever lost a league. So I'm just going to put that one out there. James Coe, where can we find you this fall? Besides
DirecTV, man, just all over DirecTV, DirecTV Sports. And if you get the Red Zone package, they've got a channel on there called Fantasy Zone, which is basically Red Zone, but with a fantasy twist. We cover every single game. We show you every single touchdown. And me, John Hansen, Dan Helly, and Lindsey Rhodes, we basically just walk you through every single game and talk about the fantasy implications of every single game all day Sunday. It's a lot of fun. I really recommend people watch it, man.
James, I'm riding with you this week on Carolina plus 3.5. And if you're wrong, that's not going to be any good for anybody.
Okay.
Like a thinly veiled threat.
Wow. Jeez.
I mean, from a skinny guy, thinly veiled skinny guy threat, which are scary. All right, James Coe, appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next week.
All right, man. See you guys.
Okay.